like I promised, and we did promise that we'll be giving you a 360 wall-to-wall coverage of this particular high-stakes mini poll in Ol Kalou, which I alluded to earlier on. Many say is likely to shape the narrative ahead of the 2027 polls, most specifically in regards to the voting patterns in the vast Mount Kenya region. This is a region that propelled President William Samoei Ruto to the highest office in the land, the House on the Hill, in 2022. Now, many argue that since the impeachment of his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, things have changed, or tables have turned, and now he doesn't have the support that he enjoyed in the vast Mount Kenya region. Now, this particular mini poll, many say, will paint a clear picture of what is the true picture on the ground in this very crucial vote-rich region. Voting started very early in the morning at 6 a.m. today in Ol Kalou constituency, and we are just drawing nearer to the end of the voting process before vote counting begins. All eyes on IEBC and this very important mini poll. Now, joining me to make sense of the issues at hand, what is at stake, and the political dynamics shaping this particular by-election, and of course the August 2027 general election, is to my immediate right, Dr. Harun Isaac Hassan, who is a leadership and governance expert. A very good evening, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
Interviews. Yeah. So, but of course, thank you for making time.
Thank you very much.
Pretty much. Now, also joining us this particular afternoon next to Dr. Hassan is Mr. Kibani Mwangi, who is also a governance expert. A very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ian.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me around.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Pretty much. Last but not least is Mr. Bosco Kiura, who is also a governance expert as well. Mr. Kiura, welcome to KTN.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Pretty much. Let me begin with you. I mean, you are allied to the ruling party.
Absolutely.
That is the UDA party, which is fronting a candidate. And we are being told there's that talk about the two front runners, DCP and UDA. I don't know, so far so good in terms of the voting process, in terms of security, in terms of turnout. From where you sit, how are things, shaping up or looking, looking in Ol Kalou constituency this afternoon?
Yeah, actually, so far, this is one of the most unique by-elections we have seen in the recent by-elections, because we have seen the turnout so far is quite good, more or less over 50%, which is quite unique for a by-election. Also, we have seen some people anticipated there will be a lot of violence. We congratulate the government for having taken care of this with the so-called 1,000 police or troops. Also, you have seen what is important is, for example, you have seen the excitement and the way people have come out to vote. It shows the people in this Ol Kalou are interested in choosing who is their leader in the next one, even if it's the next 1 year. They are interested to know who will change their lives. So it's a very high-stake by-elections, and we hope it will end peaceful as it has been. And I predict the UDA will win this election.
You talked about the deployment of security officers. There were concerns that, the number is too high, and there were concerns of, possible plot to intimidate voters in that particular region by the united opposition, most specifically, that is our DCP leader, Rigathi Gachagua. Why this high number?
Anybody who has not been in this country who was not here in 2007, would be saying the things of there are many police officers, because the things we saw in 2007, we need to stop that as early as now. Our leaders need to speak peaceful language, because if we proceed this way, as we go to 2027, it will be chaotic. One of the reasons I think the government has gone out of this way to put all these troops in this area. Remember, when we have been having other by-elections, the government has limited resources, even the police, so to speak. So they were normally in different areas. But in this case, this is only one by-election taking place in this area. Secondly, we have seen violence in the previous, during the campaign period. You have seen Rigathi Gachagua telling someone like Irongo Kangata not to step into that area. And the day he went, there was violence. So it is a concern, and it's a good thing that the government has tried to beef up security. And I think this has instilled confidence to even the voters in this area. So whatever is happening in this by-election is a good reflection of what will happen in 2027. So as we conclude this by-election this evening, in terms of, I mean, not necessarily in terms of, both in terms of the outcome of the voters or the voting patterns, and also the conduct. One thing I would like to congratulate IEBC. We have seen them coming out very clearly on the issues of hate speech. There are people who have been fined. They have called out those people who have been doing malicious things and these kind of practices. However, as we move to 2027, leaders need to be as careful as they can be, so that let them not ban this country using our words. Because the issue of, for example, goons, most of the politicians have been having their own goons. So because me and you here and we meet, me have my goons, you have your goons, we meet in a forum, and then the goons clash. So one of the reasons that is causing, we should ask ourselves, who are these goons? When you have a meeting on a whole Friday or Thursday, outside here, then you have a whole crowd of people. It shows there are some people who are not very busy or being misused by politicians. So we need, as we move forward, elect leaders that will be able to bring industrialization, to create job employment opportunities for everyone, so that now we can reduce this number to a better environment.
Fair enough. Mr. Kimani Mwangi, your assessment of it all, he talks about the deployment of 1,000 police officers being necessary, but, you know, it hasn't been the case in even previous by-elections. I don't know, your assessment, first of all, in terms of, you know, the security and what has been happening in Ol Kalou, even in the past few weeks, leading to today's culmination of, you know, voting, and eventually in the evening we'll be having a new member of parliament.
I'll flip the discussion and ask, could it be that the reason it has been so peaceful is because we had heightened the number of police officers in the area, and they were able even to scare away possible goons who would wish to bring chaos around? Because of the numbers, they couldn't. I would say this, we, and especially the opposition, they prepared people of a bloody by-election, full of intimidation, chaos. Even up to now, though, if you're following what is going on, you will hear of Rigathi Gachagua saying that there is even plan to storm polling stations and cause mayhem and all that, using police that are not uniformed or civilian police. Now, as a government, when you are going to a by-election where it is anticipated that there will be chaos, there will be goons around, then it is incumbent of the government to make sure that does not happen. So it's funny how the opposition would wish to have their cake and eat their cake and still have it, because you complain of possible chaos, then police the government hears your cry, gives you enough number of police officers, then you turn the story around and you say these are too many, they are going to intimidate the people. But then it is the work of the government to know that dealing with the people requires you sometimes to shut off from listening to what they are saying and do that which is necessary. So congratulations to the government for having all the officers they had in the area, because I would attribute that to the fact that the level of chaos in this by-election, as opposed to what we've had previously, is very reduced. In fact, we haven't had any serious case of breach of security anywhere today.
Because in past by-elections, by now there are cases of violence. We saw
including
that in
death.
Asipul, in Malava.
Including death by now. A vehicle touched, several, not even one, tear gas all over, sometimes damage of property, death, and injury to people. And you see, this is rigging, by the way. When such things happen, it is rigging because this intimidates people to stay at home and not to come and express their voice through the candidate they want to choose. The government today decided we are not going to have it. Let's have a free and fair election. The opposition prepared us of a government that is going to steal their election today. Let's see how it ends. If it ends as it has gone so far, with all the peace, IEBC conducting itself very soberly, there has been no cases of compromise, no people complaining of opaqueness of how they've conducted their affairs today. So at the end of the day then, let us see who wins, because it will be free and fair.
Pretty much. And we've talked about the DCP party lead. I'm told we'll be addressing the media in the next 1 hour or so. We'll be waiting to hear what he has to say in regards to all that. Like you've said, that, they want to have their cake and eat it at the same time. Let me come to you, Dr. Ray. He has alluded to IEBC. There were concerns about preparations and how the commission in itself is prepared. And they said this is a litmus test for this commission ahead of the 2027 polls. There were concerns about hate speech. There were concerns about voter bribery. And Bosco Kiura has alluded to it. And we saw Wanjiku Muya being fined. Of course, the court temporarily halted the payment of that particular fine. The same happened with Nakuru Town East MP, David Gikaria. He was fined 2.5 million, but again, the court has halted that. Generally, from where you sit, because from morning up to now, the voting process has been smooth. In fact, voters in the region, in that constituency, do say it is swift and everything is in order. Just your assessment in terms of IEBC preparedness and what we've witnessed so far.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think from the onset of the arrangement in terms of prepositioning election materials, election staffs, as well as the relevant authorities who are tasked to make sure that those materials are protected. I think it looks like now IEBC has tested their strength in terms of showing Kenyans that they're able to do the work. Having said that, I don't think if we can conclusively say at this point in time that IEBC probably have done their best. We'll want to wait the elections to end, the results to be announced, post-election, by-election period, because it's not about the voting. Pre-positioning was the first stage, which we must give them a thumb. They have done their best. At one point, I remember the chair of the IEBC trying to threaten the politicians that if the situation continues the way it was, definitely on the issues of insecurity, then we may suspend this election. That actually has diffused a lot of temperatures that earlier on other politicians were applying to intimidate or to find their own way on the by-election. And therefore, I think IEBC, in the first stages, prepositioning of materials and personnel, commencement of election, and until now, I don't think if there are bigger issues which has been reported that might warrant saying that IEBC has failed to do their job. So I think this is not a very good litmus test, though. We should understand that, because one constituency is not the mandate of IEBC to prove themselves that they are able to do the election in 2027. We are talking about 6 positions, presidency, governors, and members of parliament, women, senate, and women rep, as well as members of county assembly and members of parliament, in almost 390 constituencies. Therefore, that is when we are seeing that, or rather when we will say that IEBC probably, if this sample will have been around 5, 10, 20, then we will have said, indeed, they have prepared themselves, or they are going to deliver a free, fair election for 2027. Okay. However, there are some few indicators that people usually look at. One is, are the people organized systematically in terms of their approach to the task? And this, I will say yes for now. The fact that commissioners, precisely 2 of them, were on the ground in one constituency, and it is their first or second time as they do by-election, which is a bit tense. This is not an ordinary by-election. Reason being, election usually gives most of the actors an opportunity to dominate their experience within their locality. This one here are people who are holding offices, who are leaders of political parties, who are trying to prove that they have more popularity than others. And therefore, when you see such a situation occurs, then we cannot say Ol Kalou will become a very good sample for IEBC to showcase. And indeed, if they can prove this in terms of systematically concluding this election, because of the pressure and the situation we are seeing, then we believe that IEBC probably will going to do a good job in 2027.
Pretty much. Let's talk about politics now. And let me come to you, Bosco. This particular by-election, we saw the government heavily invested in this particular mini poll. Of course, the government says these are development projects that were planned earlier on, but now they're now being implemented. But of course, again, the timing is suspect. How comes all these development projects are being, quote unquote, implemented in this particular window of the by-election? But generally, how crucial is it, this particular by-election, how crucial is it for the ruling party that you support in terms of looking ahead at 2027?
First of all, as I answer that, I would like to come into what you have talked about development. I want to ask myself, I want to ask ourselves a question. Because before the Member of Parliament passed on, there was NGCDF, and it had plans for the county, for the constituency. There were monies from the county government as well, which were in budgets, and there were projects to be undertaken. Do we now stop all the projects because there's a by-election? I think the answer is no. So what is important is, as the development is brought by government or whoever is bringing development in that area, what is critical, especially for the government, are the resources being brought be used prudently? Are you taking care of that? So as I answer that, I wanted to mention about the development.
Let me just ask you, this was not witnessed in other by-elections, in other constituencies.
Yes.
Why is it only that this is happening and very predominant in
I'll tell you
this
directly,
particular
politics is war. And in a war, you go with any ammunition that you know will help you win. So if there are people who went to Ol Kalou with abusive language and all manner of things, then some other people went to development and to give the people in that area development projects.
That is why I'm asking. You've said politics is war, and you have to,
use what you have.
Use what you have.
Yes.
Then my question was, we've not witnessed this in, other by-elections. We did not see this in Malava. We did not see this in Beira. We did not, see this in Kasipol. Does that, whatever we've witnessed so far in terms of the government trying to, win this particular seat, does that make this particular by-election in Ol Kalou very important to the government?
This by-election is very important to either opposition or government. Why? It is a coincidence. Today is 15th of July, like it was 15th of July 2021, when there was a by-election of Kiamba. And that was when UDA got the first candidate of UDA. And that's what gave direction that either UDA is winning that election in 2022 or it was losing. And from that day, whoever wins, like for example today in Ol Kalou, someone will pick that momentum and will go with that momentum until to 2027. Because now, in this case, as I said about the coincidence of that election and this election today, the by-election is important. For example, there is someone who has been going around the mountain telling us there are no votes for the current regime, or President William Ruto has no votes in the mountain. So whatever outcome it will have, the margin of or rather the number of votes that UDA will get, for example, it is an affirmation that UDA has ground and it has a lot of voters, and it was a reflection of what will happen in 2027. Now, even if they don't win, and in the event even they win.
Okay.
Sorry?
If that will be the case,
yes,
then what can we say about whatever happened, for example, in Emurua Deke?
Yes.
Because the DP yesterday was speaking to hosted residents of the South Rift region in his Wamunyoro home, and he alluded to the number of votes that he got in Emurua Deke, painting a picture of the support that he has in the Rift Valley region.
Yes.
So if that is the logic that he uses, then is that the same logic that you're alluding to in terms of if President William Ruto does not even, if UDA does not even win this seat and it garners 25,000, 30,000 votes, then that is a clear statement that he still has support in the region. Can you allude that to the same in terms of DCP getting
Let me
the number
use
of
the
votes it
same
brought in
example you
Southern?
have used of the deputy president. There's a war that is right now between the Mount Kenya East and West, isn't it? And this, whatever the outcome of this by-election, it is a reflection or showing if there are so many voters who come out, and even, I can almost guarantee you, UDA will win this position. And if the UDA wins this position, it shows whoever who has been saying Kithure Kindiki has no support in the mountain, he is lying. Whoever has been saying UDA has, or the president has no footing in the mountain, he is lying. And vice versa, even if it happens to DCP and Rigathi Gachagua. However, it has always been said that the mountain is with Rigathi Gachagua. And so whatever outcome, it will show. So basically what I'm saying is, as we move to 2027, the momentum that will come from this by-election. Remember, we are like 1 year to the election, and that's the same scenario we had in 2021. So, and you remember after Kawanjiko won that position, UDA picked up that momentum and went with it. So what is important as we move to 2027, if you ask me what are the stakes at Ol Kalou right now, someone may look at UDA and DCP, but there are also stakes within the united opposition. Why? If you look at the arrangement that united opposition they had, for example, in Mbeere North, they have always said any seat that they lose or in the death of someone or there's a by-election, that seat should go to the person who was in that seat. For example, in Mbeere North, the DP candidate who was CS Roko, they picked a candidate from Mbas to brought him to DP so that he can he can vie on that position. Look at what is happening in Ol Kalou. Kioni has always been complaining. Jubilee is being undermined. We have not seen Jubilee campaigning anywhere in this by-election. Another undoing of the by-election here, the united opposition has, there are 9 candidates. Government has only 1 candidate. The rest are opposition. So you can almost expect these other 8 candidates will pick some chunk of votes from this in this by-election, and that's the votes would be maybe expected to give the DCP candidate.
Okay.
So it is for them to lose actually.
Okay, let me engage Mr. Kimani Mwangi. He has alluded to united opposition failing to have or agree on one single candidate to front. The DCP party said they made a mistake when they left the ticket, united opposition ticket for DP in Mbeere North. They're not going to make that mistake again, repeat the mistake in Ol Kalou. First of all, does having quite a number of candidates under the united opposition play into the hands of the government? And most importantly, from where you sit, this is a very high, the stakes couldn't be much more higher. What happens if the UDA candidate wins, and what happens if the DCP candidate wins in terms of the ramifications of the outcome of this particular poll ahead of 2027?
If I may go back a bit.
Okay.
Firstly, the opposition, as usual, is employing emotional blackmail to the people of Ol Kalou, lying to them that, or purporting to lie to them, that these developments came yesterday. I want to ask you a question. JM Memorial Hospital is a 500-bed capacity hospital. Can you put up that thing in 3 months? No, you can't. Because it is 75% complete, what does that tell you? It's a project that has been ongoing. Now you understand why the people of Ol Kalou had voted for the MP for 3 terms. All these projects that Gachagua and his people purport have been brought all of a sudden, they were not.
Including
in
the
fact,
gas
in May 2025, it is when the government of President William Ruto intervened because this project, particular one, had stalled and brought on board KDF to continue it.
Okay, let me ask.
Look at the railway.
Okay.
It is an 86-kilometer rail line, meter gauge railway. Can you revamp it, right? Redo the lines, have the buses and the stations within 3 months? it tells you it's a project that has been ongoing again. But because the opposition, in its usual emotional blackmail and lies, they wanted to believe that the government was asleep, it had forgotten the people of Ol Kalou.
Allow me to
it
ask.
just came all of a sudden to do these things.
Allow me to ask, you've alluded to this being projects that were ongoing, and plans had been made earlier on to, of course, complete these projects or start new ones. So,
I'm not even alluding, I'm giving you evidence.
Okay.
Look at the land registry, for instance.
Okay, one would ask, we've seen an array of goods being...
No, I want to show you. No, hold on.
Just a moment.
Yes.
We've seen an array of goods being,
I'll come to that. Okay. I'll come to that as well.
So, for example,
but I want to show you the 4 major projects.
Okay, just a moment.
Yes.
Just a moment. Just let me focus on one thing.
Yes.
So even the issue of, gas cylinders being given to residents.
I'll come to that.
It was in the pipeline.
Let me finish.
Part of the project
let me finish with the 4 major ones. I've explained the railway. I've explained the hospital. Let me come to the land registry. Check your records and you will realize that as early as May, right, there was digitization of 430 files. This land registry has been an ongoing project constructed within the vicinity of Ol Kalou law courts. It didn't start yesterday. It has been ongoing. There has even been digitization of all the files, 430,000 files. They have been digitized. What was remaining is launching it. Talk of electricity. When did Alex Kamau, the PS, launched the 1.6 billion electrification project in Nyandarua? Well before Kiaraho died.
When were they?
In essence, we will realize that all the 4 major projects that have been told that were brought the other day, they were not. The only thing that came the other day is the mattresses and the gas cylinders.
Gas cylinders, boats.
The boats, of course, for the dam too. But then, we have had empowerment programs among UDA MPs all over the country. True or false? We saw Sudi give even Porsche meals, motorbikes. Did we see that happen? There was no by-elections. So when it is time for Ol Kalou, did we expect the people to stop this from happening so that it is not alleged it is being done as a way to bribe the voters?
Okay, so let me ask.
Yes.
When you talk about the 4 major projects, and
Yes.
then there are others, you've classified them into, I don't know what kind of classification I'd call that, but they're main projects, and then there are other issues, the boats, and the gas cylinders, the mattresses. What can that be referred to? Let's narrow down to gas cylinders, mattresses.
You don't tell.
What can that
you
be
cannot
narrowed to?
tell the government when it is going to do its development project in a region. Firstly, I've proven to you that the major project they are talking about, they have all been ongoing, courtesy of the government and their former MP. All these projects were ongoing, all of them. None, in fact, they were in their completion end. And that is why it was so easy to come and complete, coincidentally, because they were completing.
I'll come back to you because
now we're massaging.
Give me 1 second.
Just a moment. I want us to cross over to Ol Kalou and then allow Kimani to finish and then engage Daktari. Because when we talk about all that, I really want to get your perspective in terms of where can we classify these mattresses that were issued? Where can we classify
my question,
these
Ian,
gas
is
cylinders
They
that were
will
issued?
never give you the answer.
This development
answer from me.
Is this development being done in
okay.
Somali or in Kenya?
It's okay.
These are Kenyans who are enjoying this development. Whether you
I'll answer you
It's
that.
okay.
I'll
No
answer
problem.
that. I'll give you the answer.
We'll come to that, gentlemen. For now, I want us to cross over to Ol Kalou, where our very own Ken Geshui is standing by. Ken, if you can hear me, I'm being told where you are, there is a heavy contingent of police officers who have been deployed. What is the latest? What is happening? And what are residents of that particular part of Ol Kalou saying?
Well, thank you very much, Ian Keitani. Indeed, here at Ol Kalou Comprehensive School, we have a very heavy contingent of police officers that have been deployed here. And this is just after chaotic scenes that we have just witnessed here. Police officers, or maybe, I don't know, we are not even sure who they are, because these are people who are riding on civilian vehicles, Land Cruiser Prados and a V8. And actually, they lobbed tear gas at the electorates who are camping outside the school. And actually earlier on we had been issued a statement by the security agencies that indeed we have some police officers in civilian. And actually at the moment we are yet to establish whether they were police officers or not. But immediately after that attack happened, the police officers from who are in uniform have arrived here in their numbers. More than 50 police officers have already come here, and we are still waiting to see whether maybe the residents shall maybe just remain calm. But what happened earlier is that the residents were uncomfortable with the presence of ununiformed officers who actually lobbed tear gas at them, trying to disperse them from a polling station. And at the moment, we have the residents just engaging happily with the uniformed police officers. That tells you the residents have no problem with the police officers. What they have a problem is the conduct of some of the officers who are not in uniform, and some of them trying to disperse them. And here I have some of the residents. Kama wewe ulikuwa hapa wakati tukio lilifanyika, ulishuhudia nini?
Mimi ni mpigaji kura hapa. Ile kitu tupatia wasiwasi kama wapiga kura hapa Ol Kalou. Watu walikuja hapa ambao ni wahuni, gunizima, wakuja na gari ambazo nyeusi na vioo zilikuwa tainted. So tukaogopa, tukaona ni kama kwamba wanataka kuja kuiba. Hiyo ndio imetufanya tuwe na shaka kidogo, lakini process inaendelea vizuri na tunaendelea vizuri na tunatarajia kwamba tutapata ushindi. Isipokuwa ni polisi ni wengi wamekuja hapa, lakini ambao walikuwa wamekuja naona wameondoka. Tarajia shughuli itaisha vizuri.
Pengine nipate maoni ya mwingine hapa.
My name is Cromwell Dirangu, a resident of Ol Kalou. So today we are really happy because the cops are around here, but the residents have kept the peace. The residents have kept the peace. But what has brought us here in our numbers, once you get in that gate, you vote, and then you get out, you stop here. So that we protect our votes, that these guys who are coming here in trucks, these guys who are coming here in masks, they will not steal our votes. They will not steal our votes. Because the government does not understand that we, the people, we are against the government. We tuliachana government kabisa. So whatsoever they will try to do, we are here as the people. The people, we will guard our votes and nothing, automatically nothing. Hakuna kitu itaibiwa.
Okay, sawa. Okay, hapa tulikuwa na amani hapo mbeleni, lakini kutoka saa 8, saa 9 kukakuja magari nyeusi. Zikakuja zikaanza kupiga buduki, zikapiga tear gas, rubber bullet. Lakini tunataka kusema hivi, serikali waache kucheza na wananchi wa Ol Kalou, Nyandarua County. Sisi tuko na amani, wasikuje kufuruga. Sisi tunataka kuvotia yule mtu tunataka kuvotia. Kwa hivyo tumepewa warning serikali ya Kenya ikiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Rais, waache kucheza na watu wa Ol Kalou. Tumeshaamua, tumeshafanya kitu yetu na sisi tuko na amani. Sisi tunalinda kura zetu mpaka sihesabiwi, na tunataka tujue mwenye tumechagua ambao ni wa DCP amechukua kitu.
Well. Those are the words of the voters here, not our words. And actually what we have gathered is that the residents are not comfortable with having vehicles that are suspicious around the polling stations. But they have insisted that only the voters should enter those polling stations and not any other person. And as we continue to wait, for now peace has been restored. A higher number of police officers has been deployed here just to ensure that safety and calm has been restored. For now, back to you in studio, but we shall be bringing you more updates in our subsequent bulletin. Back to you, Ian.
Well, indeed, many thanks, Ken Gashui from the Ol Kalou Comprehensive School. Heated scenes over there. We hope that peace will reign, and that will be the case until the very end, when we finally have a new member of parliament elected in that particular constituency. I'm torn because I want us to address what they've raised. But first of all, before we talk about the concerns that are being raised there and whatever is happening, I want us to finish up on the conversation that we're having. And you had a few things to say, just briefly, kindly. Mm-hmm.
Again, it would be unfair to say, because I could tell, I don't want to say it, you are alleging it was voter bribery.
I'm saying
I would say it
based
is
on
not.
what the United Opposition
I
said.
would say it is not. Do you know why? Not unless we say that all the empowerment programs that we have seen in all other constituencies were voter bribery attempts, then we could call this one the same.
Okay.
But if at all we've seen this happening elsewhere, even where there were no by-elections, then it would be unfair to say that when it is time for the people of Ol Kalou to get their visitation, then we call it a voter bribery exercise.
Okay.
Because it has been happening. I've demonstrated to you that the major projects, none of them has begun now. The only thing that the minister again did the groundbreaking for, and it wasn't when these elections were declared, it was the affordable housing. Again, this has been going on in all over the country. Construction of markets, which constituency is not enjoying this? So it would be hypocrisy of us to imagine that because there is by-elections, the people of Ol Kalou should not have affordable housing done because, it would appear they are being bribed. There shouldn't be market going on. All the government was to fold hands and walk out until elections are done for them to come back, for it not to appear that they were. It is being unfair to those people.
Kimani, it's not just that, because there were instances where also leaders allied to the United Opposition had goodies to offer the residents. So the concern is not just about what the government did, but also,
No, you see, firstly, and by the way, campaign goodies are not criminal. Even because by law, there is limits to which you spend your money when campaigning. If today you are vying here, and I decided I'll give you posters or calendars to go and give the people, aren't those goodies? If I decided that I'll give you merchandise, I'll brand you a campaign, I bring you t-shirts, will you wear all the t-shirts?
Okay.
If I give you the caps, will you wear all of them? You are going to distribute them to the people. It is not wrong as long as it is within the limits that have been set by IEBC.
Fair enough. Dr. Ari, I don't know whether you are of the same opinion in terms of, these goodies which Mr. Kimani and Mr. Bosco, of course, together with the government are terming as development projects, but the concerns that have been raised by the United Opposition team in terms of all these projects, they term it a voter bribery exercise.
And it is difficult to answer, a difficult question. And the difficulty is that if you can't differentiate what a voter bribery or enticement is and what is a project, a government project, then we have a problem. I think I have a problem with my colleagues here, that government usually operates in a very unique way. However, in their development agenda, it is a planned, master plan system where you know which development project occurs where. And it doesn't necessarily have to fall when there's a by-election in certain locality. However, one other thing that is crucial that my colleagues need to understand is that we do not have, or we do not define mattresses and food items and gas cookers as a government project. These are emergency response items. They are called non-food items in situations where there are emergencies. We didn't see any emergency in Ol Kalou, and I will still equate it to probably either a way of bribery or just enticing. Again, we need to differentiate individuals' goodies from government delivered items. So when it comes to government items, it has to be questioned, because the fact remains that there are areas outside that constituency with probably needs similar to that one. If there was no disaster we have seen in that area, and then it was just probably uplifting the common household livelihood by providing them with non-food items which are not available, then we will have assumed this is not bribery. But again, when we see the battles between the two rivals, and we see the ruling party's representatives are distributing goodies that are not often common in other areas, then there's a suspicion. I mean, we will feel that this indeed is a bribe. Having said that, I think the important thing is that you as a politician, you know, the money is yours. And if you want to go and give the money to buy things and give it to your voters so that they vote for you, that has been the tradition of Kenyan's political landscape. But when the government is involved, I think as a governance and leadership expert, there's a question that needs to be answered as to why that is happening now and what circumstances that led to the government to distribute mattresses and gas cookers when we know very well there are no families who have been displaced that required non-food items for them to restart their livelihood. Okay. So that is basically, I think we may not agree on one thing, that the government has all the time the right to do and give out what they think that is useful for the community at any one time. But when it comes to a time of battle in a by-election, and then the government is distributing non-food items, and then the oppositions will always view that as a bribery. Okay. And therefore, to me, I think that is a bribery. Well, let's define things as it is, because there's no way we can have a different definition for what is not development. Was there any, I don't know whether my colleagues are aware of any disaster in Ol Kalou that may cause displacement. You know, when I was working for the UN, we respond to displacement because people are displaced from their homes. Okay. And you give them non-food items as an emergency kit in order for them to start their basic life, functionality of their basic life. Okay. And therefore, I think they have their own definition. For me, that is a bribery.
Allow me also to put it that, like especially on the gases, the reason I insist it is not bribery. The government has a project they are calling Gas Yetu, where it intends to supply 6 million homes with gases, gas cylinders.
Is this a project in fact, at the national level,
yes,
across the country?
By the way, surprisingly, it has happened in Kitui, it has happened in Kajiado, it has happened elsewhere. It's a project by the government. Check your facts, you will find that the government has a project they are calling Gas Yetu, where the intention is to supply 6 million homes in Kenya with subsidized gas cylinders, so that at least people could walk away from destruction of forests and all others in search of fuel. And by the way, if it is happening elsewhere, why was it not called bribery? You know, we have a right. We have a...
Ayan, we are asking, why is it now?
So why not now? You see, the question is, so why not? If the question is why not, why now? I could also ask, why not now? So does it mean because we have, and this is why I said it is emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail works this way. So we want to tell you, it's wrong what you're doing, stop doing it, because we have elections going on. Now, if it happened elsewhere and we didn't take it as bribery, so why should we take it as a bribery when it happens here?
Let me ask.
Yes.
You said it is a Gas Yetu, program that seeks to give
6 million homes with gas cylinders.
I want to know by when, so far, from where you said, because you're talking about this.
I've told you how
many gases have been issued?
I may not have the actual numbers. In fact, you are the one who should be having them because this is your work.
No,
but you will realize it has happened in Kitui, it has happened in Kajiado, and quite a number of counties where the project has already been rolled out before they came to Nyandarua.
And what happens if we roll out Nyota program?
Now, for instance, assuming now they went to Ol Kalou, would it have been that?
No, that's bribery.
But it wasn't when the
by-election.
But it wouldn't have. Wait a minute, but it wouldn't have been. Wait a minute. But it wouldn't have been bribery if it was given in another constitution.
So when there is election, it is a bribery. Daktari, let me ask.
You see that now the unfairness.
Let me ask.
That we are saying you can subject people to unfairness just because they are having elections going on.
I'm giving you time. Just a moment. Let me ask Mr. Kimani Mwangi.
Yes.
Because you said you have information on this. These gases that
The gas cylinders, yes.
Yeah, the gas cylinders, sorry, that were dished out to residents of Ol Kalou. They were given free of charge.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes, they were.
Under the Gas Yetu program,
Yes.
they offer subsidized prices for gas cylinders.
Yes.
So if the program offers subsidized prices for gas cylinders, why were they given free of charge in Ol Kalou?
So you go ask the government.
I mean, you don't have your cake and eat at the same time.
Let's call it spell.
No, you go ask the government why in Ol Kalou it was to
You've
give
said-
20,000 gas cylinders
You've said-
without necessarily requiring people to pay a part of
You
it.
see, I'm doing you said
Yes.
it is my job to know how many gas cylinders have
Yes.
been issued. And I
But
asked
is
you,
it
said,
true
yeah,
that
just
there
a
is
moment.
such a program going on?
Just a moment. It is okay.
Yes.
My point of concern is you're saying this is a government program.
Yes, it is.
And these
as you
gases-
have
just a moment.
established.
Yes, these are gases that were
Yes.
given free of charge
Yes.
during this Ol Kalou.
Yeah, sure,
campaign
20,000
period.
of them.
But the program talks about offering gas cylinders at subsidized prices. So
Now, the
question
other
is,
people should also
why?
demand for equal treatment
So
and
why?
say
No,
that
it's not
we be
about equal
given the
treatment.
gas,
Why is it-
the gas cylinders.
Why are they being given free of charge now?
I've said, if government says it is subsidizing, but it goes on and gives a certain place for free, then you have an equal right to demand.
But now you agree
you
that
get
the
it for
timing
free.
is suspect.
No, the timing is not suspect.
Okay.
It can't be.
Bosco, kindly.
Because there is never the right time to do
Okay.
the right thing.
Okay.
So, Ian,
Yes.
all of you are speaking of the same thing, only that you're using different words. The thing is, Article 232 of our Constitution gives cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, authority to supervise, to explain government policies to wananchi. Now, there's a very thin line. Just Google. They need to be impartial and all that. But they have a role to explain the policies to wananchi. Now, there's a very thin line, Ian, between when they bring the projects, how they supervise them, and which project to be supervised and which one not to. So, for example, if there's a railway which was supposed to be constructed passing through Ol Kalou, and a PS comes in there to go and see the railway and how it's moving on, is that still bribery? For me, what we should be concerned about is the bribery of giving people cash. Well, and it has been happening even with the opposition, and it has been seen previously. So allow me, Ian, just give me some second to prosecute my case. What I'm saying is, what we should be concerned about is, are these resources being given to the people, or the development being brought to the people in a prudent manner, in a fair manner, within the law? You get? That's why I asked you. There's CDF in that constituency before the member of parliament died, and he had plans. The CDF is managed by a CDF management committee. So that cannot stop because there's a by-election. Two, there's a county government budget. It's being now implemented coincidentally during the by-election. So is that bribery? So the thing is, what you should be careful about, by the way, opposition want to get this position. To do what? To bring development to the people. Okay? Whoever is vying on DCP, after tomorrow, you want to bring the development to the people. I will tell you, I was in that Ol Kalou. People have gotten electricity for the first time. There's a lady, a grandmother, who asked me, now, I've never seen electricity in my entire life. My kids have never seen it. Now it is here. Should I elect people who I'm not sure whether they will bring the same electricity or what as the next project? Or I move with these people who have already given me electricity to continue giving me more projects? So that's the reason the people of Ol Kalou are even peaceful and are very passionate to go and vote in their leader who is pro-government to continue bringing this project. Remember Moshina has been CDF manager in that constituency. So he's not a lookie. He's not a new person there.
So you're saying only a pro-government leader was, brought this development. So does it mean, will I be right to assume that by that statement you mean someone who will be not in government or anti-government cannot oversee such projects?
Let me tell you in summary. Our constitution, in the books, theoretically, in the constitution, there is a process of bringing development to the people. You go through budget statements, it's approved by the county assembly, it's implemented, there's oversight by the member of county assembly or the member of parliament. However, that is theory in the constitution. Practically what has been happening over the years, it may not be something that I'm supporting, but let's be real, vitu kwa ground is this. If you are pro-government, it becomes easier for you to push for projects. This way, if you pick your phone call, if your telephone...
Then we failed as a
No,
country.
let me finish, please. If you pick a phone call and you have a project you are following up with Kura or Kera through the PS, it is easier for that PS naturally over the years and even now to pick that call and make sure that project is under, because the government has always had that. Resources are never enough. Resources are never enough. So when people are pro-government, it becomes easier for them to get projects because even in your own family, even if you have kids, the one that is very obedient, when you are sharing things, sweets, you end up giving this, because you want to punish this other one for not even obeying.
Let me ask you a very simple
Yes.
question.
Ask.
Should that be the case?
I've just said, if you have listened carefully, I've just said that is theory of the Constitution.
Exactly the point. Exactly
I've
the
just
point.
said,
It
can I
shouldn't be the
finish,
case.
Ian?
Why are we supporting it?
Ian, you called me here to ask me questions and I answer. But
Exactly.
when you're talking, you guys, I'm quiet. But you're interjecting me all over.
The issue
I
is...
can just hope to, I can choose to keep quiet now, you proceed with the discussion. Or you give me some time, I prosecute my case, and then you give the other person, and you also ask me another question, and we proceed fairly.
You've prosecuted your point, Mr. Kiura, and I've been fair. You've spoken for like 3 minutes. And my question is, if it is easier for a legislator who is pro-government to get development projects for his or her constituents, then what does that say about the country that we live in? Should that be the case? And you've rightly said that shouldn't be the case. But you are supporting it.
How do you know I'm supporting it?
You.
I'm telling
Your
you
sentiments.
this. You know you are, I'm saying this, Ian, and be keen to listen this time. I'm saying, in the Constitution says that we should have a process of bringing maendeleo to the people, for lack of a better word, through the process of making budget statements, taking them to parliament, being approved, being implemented, and oversight by the people we represented. We elected to represent us. That is the procedure as it should be in our constitution. But over the years, things have been different. So the government of the day happens, because the resources are never enough. For example, even now, there are issues of capitation here and there and all the other issues, because the resources are not enough. So when the little let me give you an example. The member of parliament the former member of parliament for Manyata, Jero Ndwega, I'm vying for a position of member of parliament in Manyata. And the other day he was telling even the crowd in Manyata, he was telling them, he was elected one time in opposition, another time in government. He says, all the years when he was in opposition, elected under DP, when he was in parliament, every time he has to ask a question. Are we repairing this road from point A to point B? When are we going to repair, to help us to get resources to build it? The answer was always the same. There's no problem. The government is going to handle that road when resources are available. So he said, for the 10 years, he used to kick his feet in parliament, supporting agendas. Other people who are pro-government used to get development until the day that he became a member of parliament under the ruling party during that time is when he got development. So let's be clear here. You know, you can always be hiding here behind like an ostrich, saying things are like that. That's the theory in the Constitution. But implementation on the ground is different. For the people of Ol Kalou right now to enjoy what they're enjoying, let me ask you, for example, the tarmac that has been done, the pipes that are going to put for water, will they be removed tomorrow because there's no by-election? The answer is no. So I said, as long as this development is being done within Kenya, in an area called Ol Kalou, it's not in Somalia, the people are benefiting. In fact, there are some places people say, we need a by-election every other day. I will give you an example as I finish of Mbeere North. Mbeere North. The reason people keep saying, hey, election was stolen, I was there for 3 weeks, and that's where even I come from. There was nothing to steal about. In this country, you cannot steal votes. It's very difficult, extremely difficult. The people of Mbeere, first of all, are hungry.
Okay.
Let's start there, Daktari.
Okay.
The second thing, they have never seen the resources they saw during the by-election ever since that counter was made. So what made them not to vote in a certain way or the other one? Because they were convinced all the leadership they have had all the years was unable, even in Ol Kalou, they were unable to bring this development. Now, there's a by-election here, the government has taken advantage of this, it's bringing development to us, so people argue whether there's a by-election or not, even if there's another by-election tomorrow, we continue to benefit.
Okay, I want us to take a brief breather, but just a yes or no question, Mr. Bosco. Whatever you've explained in terms of pro-government regions or MPs getting more priority and more development projects as opposed to anti-government regions, just a yes or no. Does it violate, whatever you've explained, does that violate the democratic principles that we have as a country? Yes or no?
No.
Let's take a brief breather. We'll be back with that conversation because it is becoming a real point of concern here, but we'll be able to talk more about that in a moment. Do stay with us.